The morning sun shone brightly over Ahmedabad, Gujarat, casting a golden hue across the bustling Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. The skies were a flawless blue, promising a perfect day for flying, and the air was filled with the usual anticipation and excitement that comes with international departures. On the tarmac, Air India Flight AI-171, a state-of-the-art Boeing 787 Dreamliner, prepared for its journey to London. On board were 242 people, passengers and crew, each with their own stories, dreams, and destinations. Families waved goodbye, friends exchanged last-minute hugs, and the crew performed their final checks, unaware of the tragedy that would soon unfold. As the engines roared to life and the aircraft lifted off the runway, everything seemed routine. But just moments after takeoff, something went terribly wrong. The Dreamliner's climb was sluggish, its ascent faltering in a way that defied all expectations. Onlookers at the airport fence watched in growing horror as the plane struggled to gain altitude, their excitement turning to dread. The massive jet appeared to hang in the air, unable to climb higher. Then, in a heart-stopping instant, it nosedived, crashing into a nearby canteen building crowded with students and staff. The impact was catastrophic, shattering the morning calm and sending shockwaves through the city. A towering fireball erupted from the crash site, engulfing the wreckage in flames and thick black smoke. In mere seconds, 241 lives on board were lost, along with 24 innocent people on the ground. The tragedy claimed 265 souls, leaving families and an entire nation in mourning. Emergency crews raced to the scene, battling the inferno and searching desperately for survivors. But the devastation was overwhelming. Amid the twisted metal and smoldering debris, the Air India tailfin stood as a grim and haunting symbol of the disaster, a sight that would be seared into the memories of all who witnessed it. For the families waiting at the airport, a day that began with hopeful farewells had turned into an unimaginable nightmare. Grief and disbelief swept through the terminal as news of the crash spread. The world watched in shock, demanding answers. How could such a tragedy befall a modern, sophisticated airliner? Was it a catastrophic mechanical failure, a deliberate act of sabotage, or a tragic case of human error? Theories swirled as investigators arrived at the scene, determined to uncover the truth behind the disaster. Sifting through the wreckage, examining flight data, and reviewing haunting video footage, investigators began the painstaking process of piecing together the final moments of AI-171. Every clue, no matter how small, could hold the key to understanding what went wrong. Ultimately, it would take the insight of experienced pilots and aviation experts to unravel the horrifyingly simple cause behind this disaster, a cause that would send shockwaves through the aviation world and change the way we think about flight safety forever. As speculation swirled, Captain Steve, a seasoned pilot and aviation YouTuber, offered a chillingly plausible theory. Analyzing footage and reports, he focused on the critical seconds after takeoff, when pilots execute a precise sequence of actions. Steve suggested the co-pilot, under pressure, may have confused two adjacent cockpit levers, retracting the wing flaps instead of the landing gear. This small but catastrophic error would have instantly robbed the heavy aircraft of vital lift. Pilots train to avoid such mistakes, but human error is always a risk. Steve's theory resonated because it was rooted in cockpit reality, not far-fetched scenarios. It explained how a modern jet could fall from the sky moments after a routine takeoff. Inside the cockpit, takeoff is a high-stress, high-stakes phase. After liftoff, the captain calls, "Gear up," and the co-pilot's job is to retract the landing gear. But if the flap lever is mistakenly moved instead, the aircraft loses the extra lift needed at low speed. The result, the plane stops climbing, warnings blare, and the jet becomes sluggish, on the brink of a stall. At such low altitude, there's no time to recover. Captain Sumit Sabharwal and First Officer Clive Kunder would have had only seconds to react. The aircraft, deprived of lift, stalled and fell. The tragedy, a simple misidentification of a control at the worst possible moment. A routine action became a fatal error. To understand the error's impact, consider the roles of landing gear and wing flaps. Landing gear supports the plane on the ground but creates drag in flight, so it's retracted after takeoff. Wing flaps, however, are extended to generate extra lift at low speeds, crucial for heavy aircraft during takeoff. Retracting the gear streamlines the plane. Retracting the flaps too soon removes the very lift keeping it airborne. Flaps are the unseen hands that help a jet climb safely. Only after reaching safe speed and altitude are flaps retracted, and always in stages. The sequence is critical. Gear up first, then flaps, never the reverse. A mix-up in this sequence can turn a powerful jet into a falling object. That's why cockpit discipline is so vital. Retracting flaps prematurely after takeoff is one of aviation's deadliest mistakes. At low speed, extended flaps provide the lift a heavy aircraft needs to climb. If flaps are retracted before the plane accelerates, lift vanishes, and the jet stalls. The engines may roar, but the wings stop flying. The aircraft becomes uncontrollable. At low altitude, there's no room or time to recover from a stall. That's why the post-takeoff sequence is rigid. Gear up to reduce drag, then flaps up only as speed builds. Doing it out of order removes the foundation of flight. The result, a rapid, unrecoverable loss of altitude. This simple error can, and did, spell disaster. It's a lesson written in tragedy. When disaster strikes in the skies, investigators turn to every available clue to piece together the truth. In this case, crucial evidence emerged from hours of painstakingly reviewed video footage, captured from airport security cameras and bystanders' phones. Each frame was analyzed for the smallest anomaly, as investigators searched for answers hidden in plain sight. Alongside the footage, survivor testimony became a vital piece of the puzzle. The Dreamliner's wings, which are engineered to flex upward under the immense forces of flight, appeared eerily straight in several amateur videos taken just before the crash. This was a detail that only the most trained eyes would catch, but it spoke volumes about what was happening in those final moments. The straightness of the wings suggested a catastrophic loss of lift, a condition that can turn a controlled flight into a deadly plunge. Investigators theorized that the flaps, which help generate lift at low speeds, may have been retracted too early. This premature action would have left the aircraft vulnerable, unable to maintain altitude. The sole survivor, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, provided a haunting account. He described the sensation of the plane feeling stuck in the air, as if it was suspended and unable to move forward. This matched the classic symptoms of an aerodynamic stall, when the wings can no longer produce enough lift to keep the plane flying. He also remembered the cabin lights flickering, a sign of electrical instability as the aircraft struggled to stay aloft. Then came a sudden, violent impact, an instant that changed everything. Ramesh's memories of chaos, confusion, and the overwhelming force of the crash painted a vivid picture for investigators. His account, combined with the visual evidence of the wings, gave the investigation a chilling clarity. The aircraft wasn't flying into the ground with power and control. It was falling, helpless, at the mercy of gravity. Ramesh's survival is nothing short of miraculous, but his story is more than a tale of endurance. It's a human window into the science of flight gone wrong, a reminder that behind every technical failure are real lives forever changed. The technical and personal evidence aligned, each reinforcing the other. The wings lost their lift and disaster followed. In aviation, sometimes the smallest details, a flicker of a light, a subtle change in wing shape, can reveal the biggest truths, and ultimately help prevent future tragedies. The cockpit crew of AI-171 were both highly qualified. Captain Sabarwal, a seasoned aviator with over 8,000 hours of flying experience, had spent decades mastering the skies. His deep familiarity with the aircraft and its systems was matched by a reputation for calm under pressure, a quality essential for any captain entrusted with hundreds of lives. First Officer Kunder, though younger, had logged 1,100 hours, a respectable record for a co-pilot. He was diligent, attentive, and eager to learn, representing the next generation of pilots stepping up to the challenge of commercial aviation. Such pairings, an experienced captain with a less seasoned first officer, are standard in the industry, but the gap in experience can subtly influence cockpit dynamics, especially when unexpected situations arise or stress levels soar. The ability to communicate clearly, trust each other, and make split-second decisions becomes even more critical. Investigators meticulously examined whether any breakdown in communication or procedural lapses between the two pilots contributed to the tragic error. Every detail from cockpit voice recordings to flight data was scrutinized to understand what went wrong in those crucial moments. Despite the aviation industry's rigorous training programs and countless hours spent in simulators preparing for emergencies, human error remains aviation's most persistent and unpredictable threat. No amount of training can fully eliminate the possibility of mistakes under pressure. The tragedy's human cost is embodied by the story of survivor Ramesh, the sole passenger to make it out alive. His long and painful recovery drew national attention, with people across India following his progress. Even Prime Minister Modi visited him in the hospital, a gesture that underscored the magnitude of the disaster. For Ramesh, the physical and emotional scars will last a lifetime. For the families of the 265 victims, the loss is immeasurable, a void that can never truly be filled, no matter how many investigations or memorials are held. Behind every technical analysis and official report are real people, families, friends, and futures that were abruptly cut short. Each suitcase left behind, each empty chair, tells a story of dreams that will never be realized. The investigation's true goal is not to assign blame, but to learn. Every finding, every recommendation, is aimed at ensuring that such a mistake is never repeated, and that future flights are safer for everyone. Every lesson in aviation safety is paid for in lives lost. Our duty is to honor those lives, not just with words or ceremonies, but with real change that makes the skies safer for all who travel. The final answers lie in the aircraft's black boxes, the cockpit voice and flight data recorders. These devices capture every sound, command, and control movement in the cockpit. After an intense search, the flight data recorder was recovered, a key breakthrough. Its data will reconstruct the flight's last moments, confirming or refuting the flap gear mix-up theory. The investigation is a global effort, with Indian, American, Boeing, and GE experts collaborating. Their mission: determine the cause, not assign blame, and issue safety recommendations. The world now waits for the black box to reveal the truth. Only then will the families and the industry have the answers they need. As investigators analyze the black box, the aviation world braces for the truth. If the flap gear error is confirmed, it will be a sobering lesson in the importance of basic procedures, even in advanced cockpits. The tragedy of AI 171 shows how a tiny mistake can have catastrophic consequences. Inches in the cockpit meant life or death for 265 people. The final report will bring closure and, more importantly, drive changes to prevent a repeat. Aviation safety is built on learning from loss.